Hello and welcome to another episode of Kamen Rider Life Lessons, the only podcast dedicated to uncovering the many teaching moments in this live-action tokusatsu series targeted at small Japanese children. Today on lesson V3, chicken tastes good, burgers taste better, but people taste the best! Shoka 地獄の軍団我らを狙う蔵を影世界の平和を守るため Go! Go! Let's go! 輝くマシンライダージャンプライダーキックKamen Rider, Kamen Rider, Rider. So today's lesson is brought to us by Kamen Rider Amazons, which was a 13-episode series that was broadcast on Japanese Amazon Prime in 2016. So Amazon was like, hey Toei, we kind of want to feature a Kamen Rider show on our new streaming series because Kamen Rider is so awesome and we are so awesome and the both of us create this awesomeness. And Toei was like, I think we got you covered. There was a 1974 show called Kamen Rider Amazon. What if we update that shit, put an S on it, and broadcast it on your streaming service? And Amazon was like, oh shit, dog, you got us the Kamen Rider! We got a bunch of Kamen Riders. We could sell all the toys through the show, through our site. It's all good, baby. At least that's how I think the conversation went. So yeah, streamed on Amazon in Japan. Apparently it's supposed to stream on US Amazon Prime as well. I don't know when that's happening. It's been delayed for some reason. Nobody knows why. I don't know why. They're not telling us why. But eventually we over here will get to see it without having to get a fan sub of it. So today's lesson, people taste real fucking good according to Kamen Rider Amazons. So let me set the scene. So the show takes place in the city. I don't remember the name of the city. It doesn't matter. Any Japanese city, whatever. Many years ago, I don't know how many years ago, but many years ago, this evil corporation kidnapped a bunch of people and started experimenting on them. Like, I think it was like 2,000 people started doing these experiments on them, creating something called Amazon cells. Now, these cells are supposed to self-replicate. So if you get injured, it's supposed to self-heal. It's supposed to make you faster, stronger, no sickness, all that kind of stuff for the better of humanity. And of course, something goes wrong because if you succumb to the Amazon cells as they self-replicate and multiply, you wig the fuck out and you turn into a monster that hungers for protein. And the best source of protein, according to this world, is people. So about a year, I think I'm getting the dates right. It's been a while since I saw this, so forgive me if this is inaccurate. But I think a year before we joined the show in progress, there's an explosion at the lab, and 2,000 of these experiments get loose. So there's thousands of Amazons or people with Amazon cells walking around the city, and you can't tell because they have these armbands that have this medicine that keeps the Amazon cells in check. A year later, these armbands start failing because the serum only lasts for like a year. And the reason you can tell it's wearing out is the eyes on the armband go from green to red. And that's when the wigging out starts. And that's when the Amazons appear and start eating people. So the evil corporation that created this mess hires an extermination team to go out and capture these Amazons and dispose of them. So we are introduced to the team, which is important in the show, but we only care about one of the characters on the extermination team. His name is Mamoru, and he is an Amazon. But unlike the Amazons in the wild who can't really control their hunger, Mamoru is fully aware of himself when he transforms. Like he's in control of all his faculties. He doesn't wig out. He doesn't attack the team. He's a good Amazon. Like, some of my best friends are Amazons. He is a good one. And the way they keep him in control is they just chuck hamburgers at him. They keep like a bag of hamburgers everywhere they go with Mamoru. They're just feeding him and feeding him and feeding him and feeding him. And everyone else on the team gets paid in actual cash money. They pay Mamoru in fucking burgers. So he's played by this like 23-year-old actor, but he acts like he's 12. So he's very naive, doesn't understand what's going on. All he knows is that they're evil Amazons, and he's there to beat the shit out of them. And he transforms. When he transforms, he looks like a star-nosed mole. So burgers. He eats burgers. Eats nothing but burgers. That keeps him in control. That prevents him from wigging out and killing all of his friends. He's one of the good Amazons. The other two people that we care about are Haruka Miyazawa, who is the main character. He transforms into Kamen Rider Amazon Omega, the green one. So there's a green one. He's also a naive kid, but I think he's supposed to be more of like a high schooler. So he has a little bit more sense than Mamoru. He's a little bit more aware of what's going on in the politics of the world and stuff. And also, like Mamoru, when he transforms into his Amazon form, he is completely in control of his faculties. In fact, his main goal throughout most of the series is to defend humans, regular humans, from these Amazons. And as the show goes along, he starts to realize that, oh shit, Amazons are just people too. They're just victims of this horrible experiment. I want to save everybody. And that's where we get into conflicts. But anyway, so Mamoru is an important character. He also only eats burgers and chicken. And so Haruka and Miyazawa, they hang out, they're chums. They both like gorge themselves on burgers. Watching this show makes you real damn hungry. And if you're in a city where Amazon delivers food, I mean, it's great. You can watch your Amazon, you can order your food through Amazon, you can eat burgers through Amazon. It's great. It's the synergy of the show. The third character that we care about is Jin Takayama, who transforms to Kamen Rider Amazon Alpha. He raises roof chickens because in Japan, they're in a whole lot of space. And in this city, it's all industrialized. So he raises chickens on the roof. He knows a lot about these Amazons. We find out later in the series exactly why. But he subsists on chickens and chicken eggs. That's his source of protein. So it prevents him from wigging out and killing all the people around him because he wants to stay in control. So he's constantly eating raw eggs. Like the way he's introduced as Kamen Rider Alpha, he's sitting there, he grabs the raw egg, cracks it on the belt, eats it, and then transforms. It's the most amazing intro henshin sequence I've seen in a Kamen Rider show in a long time. Kick and Punch Hopper were also pretty epic in Kamen Rider Kabuto, but you know, Jin's debut was fucking epic. All right, so we got 3 Amazons: Jin, Haruka, Mamoru, and everything's fine. They're eating things that aren't people. There's one episode where it all comes to a head, where the people eating and the meat eating and the chicken eating all come to a head. The extermination team is sent to a restaurant because people keep disappearing around the area of this restaurant. They got to figure out why. They suspect that it's Amazon activity. And they are correct because the chef of the restaurant is a full-blown Amazon. And the customers who eat there are Amazons as well. They have yet to freak the fuck out because they still have green armbands. But it turns out human protein is the best protein and it helps them, regulate themselves. So what the chef has been doing has been kidnapping people and killing them, chopping them up and serving them as like hamburg steak to all these people. And when Haruka figures that out, he freaks the fuck out and a fight breaks out in the restaurant and everybody's fighting. And, there's a thing where like Haruka realizes that these people haven't turned into full-blown Amazons yet, so he kind of shoots them out the door. But then the leader of the extermination squad is pissed, but then they have to fight the chef who turns into the spider dude, and it's all a big mess and everybody's fighting, and the extermination team is there, and Jin shows up, and Mamoru turns into a star-nosed mole thing, and they're all fighting, and everything is chaos, and they finally beat him, and everything is fine, and everybody goes home, and there's emo moments, and Haruka yells at the boss of the extermination squad and they have a fight. So Haruka runs away and goes on his own. Jin is sort of a rogue Kamen Rider anyway, and he's on his own. And Mamoru's chilling with the extermination squad and they give him a hamburger and he eats it. And he looks around and he's like, does is this supposed to taste like? This tastes weird. I don't like this anymore. He kind of spits it out. And you're like, what the fuck? Because up until this point, Mamoru has lost his mind anytime anybody gave him a burger. He's like, oh my God, it's a burger. This is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. He just eats it all up. This is the first time he's ever questioned it. This is the first time he's ever looked at the burger and been like, man, this is some whack ass shit that y'all is giving me. And we flash back to the restaurant. And during the fights, during the fighting and the chaos, Mamoru was slammed up against the wall, fell to the ground. And there, right in front of his face, was this cooked piece of meat, this cooked piece of hamburger steak, just lying there. And he sniffs it, and it smells real good. And he eats it. He ate people. And it's like a light switch goes off in his head. He's like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. And we flash back to Mamoru looking at this burger. He's like, man, I want to get back to what that food was. I want to know what that tasted like. So I think it's in the very next episode. But Mamoru and the extermination team is sent out on another mission. And in the middle of it, he transforms into his star-nosed mole thing. And he realizes, man, what's that smell? It smells exactly like that thing that I had at the restaurant. Turns out he's sniffing his best friend's arm, and he freaks the fuck out and starts eating his arm. Just rips off the guy's arm and starts eating it and freaks the fuck out. It's like, they finally pull him off, and he realizes what he's done. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I ate my best friend. This is so fucked up. Oh, this is shit. And so from then on, the show takes a turn. Like, it was already pretty epic to begin with, but now there's this whole other emotional component where we see Mamoru losing his mind because he realizes that people taste real fucking good and these burgers just ain't cutting it no more. But if he's eating people, it's the people around him, and it's his friends, it's his best friends, it's his family, like they would say in a Fast and Furious movie. So yeah, people apparently are the best source of protein if that's something you're really interested in. And that is what we can learn from Kamen Rider Amazons. Isn't that fucking wonderful? It kind of begs the question, like, you know, why it doesn't really make sense, because people in general are kind of lean-ish unless you target like gigantic obese people like we have here. But in Japan, you don't really think of the people over there as having a obesity problem. So like all the people that these Amazons are eating are kind of stringy and small. And I was thinking about that, like, why not just go to a pasture and just like decimate cows? But then I thought, like, well, this show takes place in the city, so there are no pastures, there are no fields of cows, and besides that, you know, Japan doesn't have Montana. Like, if Amazon happened here in America, you would just ship them all out to Montana and say, look, there's all those cows, eat that shit. It's much more meat on them than us. And you can have, and they don't give a shit. You know, we'll just make more cows. But in a small city in Japan, in an urban setting, I guess people are the best that you can get. Like, even roof chickens are tiny. So like, you've got a chicken compared to a whole person. Even if that person is stringing, I guess you would go with the person because there's more of it. So yes, that is what we can learn from Kamen Rider Amazons. When you are hungry and you need to subsist on nothing but protein, people are the best choice for you. And that's going to do it for this lesson. Thank you for tuning in, however you're hearing this. Please leave a like and a comment or a suggestion. Share it with your friends so that they can all learn the joy of eating people from Kamen Rider Amazons. Oh, here's another question. Would you eat cloned meat? Like if we got to the point where we could clone human tissue, is that something that you would try? Or is the thought just wig you out too much? Okay, yeah, I'll stop there. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you next time. And remember, kids, it's people! It's people! Rider, jump! Rider,